When I was growing up, I used to always think it was morning dove and not morning dove. I'll be honest, it wasn't until at least probably 2 years ago that I actually learned that it was morning dove. I thought it was morning like they came out in the morning, not morning like they're sad. Because I don't really think that their song is sad. It's kind of a nice bird call. I like it. And this would be a really good place for me to put audio of a morning dove call, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Actually, I might. I don't know. It's a cool sound. When I was younger, I remember reading something about how people who are perpetually late tend to be a little bit more optimistic. And I'm not sure if they mean like as a whole, like overall optimistic, or just about their timing. Growing up, I was always somebody who was very punctual, so I was someone who was always on time. I was in band in like fifth grade, and I was always taught like to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. It's like I grew up with that mentality, and I retained that for a long time until like I'd say until like about 4 or 5 years ago, honestly. But then it's like you realize the world doesn't end if you're 10 minutes late to a doctor's appointment. Because even if you're on time or early to a doctor's appointment, you still have to wait like a half an hour anyway. And I mean, it's kind of the same with your friends too. Like, I don't know, if you told your friend you're going over to visit at 2 o'clock and you show up at 2:10, are they going to be like your enemy? Like, are they going to hate you? I don't think so. I've had friends show up late all the time, and they're still my friends. Maybe the idea of optimism in lateness comes from the idea of having more, or thinking you have more time than you actually do have. I'd feel that for myself personally. Because like if I have something at 2 o'clock and then I'm like, oh, it's at 2 o'clock and it'll take a half an hour to get there. So as long as I leave by 1:30, I'll be fine. So then I'm like, all right, well, I have till 1:30 to do this, this, and this. And then I do this, and this. And then I realize I don't have time to do this because it's 1:37 and I'm going to be late. I guess that's optimism in a way. I guess I am optimistic. Yeah. Makes sense to me. I was talking to my friend Spencer about this recently. You see, we go to the gym together, and he's usually about 45 minutes late when we decide to go. But that's okay. He's still my friend. I'm thankful also that people have been pretty patient with me. Back in November, I agreed to do voice acting for someone. And, well, it's February now, and 3 days ago, he messaged me and asked for the recording, and I realized that I completely forgot to do it. So, but I did send it to him, though, so it just took me like 3.5 months. And I felt pretty bad about that. It just kind of hit me with a wave of panic, like, oh, God. It all worked out, though. I still sent him the audio. I don't think he's that mad at me, I hope. And the video's still going to be awesome when it's out. Maybe that's just me being optimistic, though. Or maybe I was just optimistic for the 3.5 months that I wasn't doing the thing I had to do, because I completely forgot to do it. I'm curious if there's a difference between optimism and ignorance. Is that ignorance? No. No, I just forgot. Is forgetting ignorance? There's a word for it, and I can't think of it. And that's frustrating. Not apathy. I guess kind of apathy in a way. I don't know. I'm sure someone does. I feel like life kind of changes all the time. But I feel like there's always some like big major stressor in my life. And that's different. You know, back in school it would be like a big test or a presentation or something. And now it's, you know, taxes and other stuff. You know, stressful adult stuff. And no matter how much you work or how much you try to get rid of it, it always just kind of gets replaced by another problem. So I've kind of learned to just accept it. You just accept that there are stressors in your life and you work around them, or you throw rocks at them. Metaphorically. I don't know what that translates to, but or you could throw actual rocks. As long as the problem's not like a person, that would be mean. It's also fun to just hang out with a friend and throw rocks too. Or some other metaphorical version of throwing rocks. I don't know if that's like playing a board game or watching a show. Or just talking about the problem. All that stuff works too. But I feel like there's something nice in just accepting. Just accepting that there are some things you can't really change or work around. You just kind of gotta live with them. And someday they'll go away, or some of them will stick around, or like I said, they'll just be replaced with a different thing. And that's all okay though. Another thing I've been thinking about recently is short-term memory. You know, we live for however long we live, and there's all these little days and things that we just won't remember. And I've just kind of started accepting that. You know, how many hours of your life have you spent in a waiting room at a doctor's office, or pacing around your room waiting for someone to text you back? And in 20 years, you won't even remember that. You won't remember what you thought about waiting for the dentist or anything like that. Hell, you might not even remember people's names. That's just how the brain works, I guess. I feel like there is something a little scary about accepting that, you know, but I think for me at least, it's an important thing to do, to just accept that. I'm not going to remember everything in my life. And I got a pretty good memory. You know, I remember a lot of my science facts from high school and elementary school. I'm pretty good at Jeopardy. When I watch Jeopardy, I like to play along. I think I'm pretty dang good at trivia. So I do have a pretty good memory, but you know, I've just come to accept that in the short term, a lot of the stuff that happens, I won't remember. I don't know if this is like a broader message for everyone to kind of accept that, but it's just something that I've been thinking about, I guess. It's cool to think about growth. You know, over time, no matter what, we're always growing. Either physically, you're working your muscles and getting big and strong, eating your vegetables. Maybe you still got a growth spurt in you somewhere. That'd be fun. You're like, you turn like 32 and then you just get a growth spurt or something. That'd be cool. But also, you know, it's cool to grow emotionally and mentally. And it takes time, and it's good though. It's a good feeling. Earlier this week I was really sad and I cried for a little bit. Just had a lot going on. And I cried. And I felt better after I did. I think it's important to remember that things take time and life is pretty dang awesome sometimes. And it's fun to make stuff. It's really fun to make stuff.